it's Sam here. Hopefully it's just about 2 o'clock. Tess is with me. Is it 2 o'clock, Tess? Yeah, I can see yet. She's behind the camera. She's in the side of the camera, so you ought to see her. But I was out for sorry, Sam here from Ashdown Jones. I should probably say that bit. I was out with a friend yesterday, walking on Clay Heights in Windermere, getting a little bit wet. My lovely friend Kate, who will be watching this video later, so hello Kate. And I said to her, if you were thinking about selling your house, and she's not because she's just done it up, so not just yet. If you were selling your house, what would you want to know on a Facebook Live? What could I teach you about on Facebook Live that you would find really interesting and compelling to watch? And also, what would be on your mind when you're just about to put your house on the market? What would be kind of pressing as a topic for you to consider? And she said viewings. She said she'd put her house on the market in the past, and her biggest sort of issue and the biggest consideration was viewers. And she had all kinds of problems, like she was telling me about this couple that came in out of the rain in their fell boots, probably just bored, wanted to have a look around a nice Lake District home, and they trampled mud all the way through her house. So one of the things I said to Kate yesterday was make sure you've got some slip covers. You know those blue slip covers? Make sure you've got some blue slip covers by the front door in a little basket, or your agent should have some as well. We certainly have some, and we'll bring those along. But you can actually, and I haven't gone into my detail about what I want to talk about today, but just thinking out loud, you can actually ask your viewers to take their shoes off. I think that's fine to do that. And most people will offer, we offer when we go around to somebody's house. I have to make sure that I've got matching socks on, or that I've done my toe polish, or that, I mean, Phil used to have holes in his socks when he went out. I have to make sure he has nice socks. So yeah, it's absolutely fine to ask somebody to take their shoes off, and it shows that you value your carpets and that you are house proud and you like your house to look nice. So yeah, I think that's absolutely fine. So what I wanted to talk to you today about the who, what, why, when, what of viewings was, there's actually a lot to talk about. In fact, I was just talking to Tess about this before. We're going to talk about first viewings, because in the next Facebook Live I'm going to talk about second viewings, which are fundamentally different from those first viewings in some specific ways that I'm going to share with you on the next Facebook Live. Hopefully it'll be tomorrow, might be Wednesday, but we'll see. So we've made a list, Tess and I, so I'm going to keep referring. You can't see it, it's behind the camera, but I'm going to keep referring. So if you think I'm looking off camera, I am. I'm looking at my list to make sure I remember to tell you every single thing that's on my list about how we do a viewing at Ashdown Jones, what's important about the viewings that you're doing, and who should do the viewings. So let's just start with the who, because this is a conversation I get in with a lot of people, and particularly agents. So for those of you who don't know, I've been training and teaching agents for the last 13 years. I've taught over 1,000 agents how to do things like viewings. So I have a lot of opinions about this subject, as you might appreciate. And I know a lot of busy agents don't like to do their own viewings. They like the owners to do their own viewings, and they'll tell the owners all kinds of things like, well, you know, you're the best person to do the viewing because you know the house better, and you know, it's on a Sunday and we can't do a Sunday, it's on an evening so we can't do evenings. And there'll be a whole host of reasons why a busy agent, maybe a sort of not necessarily a premium agent, a busy agent might want you to do your own viewings, but we say no, do not do your own viewings, and I'll explain why. So the first reason why you shouldn't do your own viewings, and why we at Ashdown Jones always, or 99.9% of the time, do our viewings for you, so your accompanied viewings, is number one, is that we are experts in sales. We have been taught to sell, or to listen, or to counter objections, or to listen for buying signals. We train to listen, we train to respond professionally, we train to respond skillfully, and we're also trained to ensure that a buyer feels really comfortable with voicing their concerns, or maybe their doubts and objections, and that they feel secure enough to tell us what they really think. Because, put it this way, if you're looking around somebody's house and straight away you think, this kitchen just isn't going to cut it, it's just too small, are you going to say that to the owner of the house? Are you going to say, this kitchen's just too small, it's just not going to work for our busy family? Because I suspect you won't. I suspect you'll say, oh, what a lovely kitchen, and just leave it at that, because it's the owner of the house, so you feel a little bit you know, sensitive to their feelings. But if you're looking around with the agent and the owner isn't in the house, you can say, I'm sorry, Phil, but this kitchen is too small. And then Phil can say, yes, Sam, but look at where you could extend. Look at where you could enlarge the kitchen. Look at how you could knock these two walls into, these two rooms into one. look at how easy it would be to create more space here. Now, the owner is never going to hear that and never going to have the opportunity to have that conversation, but Phil will and Sam will, because we'll be listening for those objections that we can then counter, and we can offer our opinion and offer our thoughts. Have any comments, Tess? Any questions yet? Kate's come on, is she? Hello, Kate. You're supposed to come on later. So if you've got any questions or comments, do please write them, and hopefully Tess will just give me a shout out and let me know when she's got any. Okay, so that was the reason why you need, or the first reason why you need a professional to show your house, and that any old person, you know, that is not used to showing houses, like possibly, you know, you see some viewing reps that maybe show houses, people who may be retired, and they're just kind of what I would call a door opener. It's funny, years ago in Wilmslow, when I lived in Wilmslow, I was looking at a house for a client. The client wanted an investment property, and I went to see a property with my sister, actually. And when we got to the property, it was a very nice one. It was about 400,000. It was still a very nice property, and it was empty. The owners had moved on, or had been tenanted out. And there was quite an old guy, probably in his 60s or so, and we could see that he was stood in the kitchen and he was reading the free paper that was just on the side with all the posts. He'd obviously picked up the post, he went in, stood there reading the paper, and the front door was open. It was a summer's day, so it was okay that the front door was open. But as we walked up to the front step, we kind of knocked on the door like this, because the door was open, and he didn't even acknowledge us. He just went, yeah, and carried on reading his paper. So I said, is it okay if we come in? He went, yeah, didn't even look at us. So we kind of looked at each other, me and my sister. We looked around the house. We went downstairs, went upstairs, went to the back door. He still hadn't moved a muscle. He's just looking at this free paper. Hadn't moved a muscle. Got to the back door, no key in the back door, and we're trying to get into the garden, which is an enclosed garden. So we're rattling the back door in the hope that he was going to say something, and he still didn't say anything at all. So we're like, I wonder where the key is to the back door, and start going through the kitchen drawers, and he still never moved. So I said, excuse me, do you know where the key is to the back door? And he went, no, sorry, and carried on reading his paper. So I was just incensed by this time, and we went out, and I phoned the agent from the car park, and I knew the agent, I knew the manager of the estate agents in Wilmslow. I won't embarrass her in case she's listening by telling you who it was, because the agent is still there now. But anyway, I said to her, explain what had happened, and I said, look, you know, your guy just didn't even acknowledge us, was downright rude actually, and he certainly didn't try and tell us anything about the house. And she said, he's not there to sell you the house. And I was a bit taken aback by this, and I said, well, what's he there for then? She said, well, he's just there to open the door. I said, right, okay, he's not there to sell it. And I thought, if I was the vendor, if I was the owner of the house listening to that conversation, I would actually be furious, because I would be thinking, but I want him to sell the house. I want him to tell somebody about all the features. The way I felt when I came out of that house is, I wouldn't have bought that house if it was the last house on earth. Not if it'd been for myself, anyway. I was determined not to buy the house because I was so annoyed about how I'd been treated, and it made me feel bad about the house. It made me feel that the house wouldn't be right for me. Now, if say Tess had shown me the house, because Tess does some of our viewings for us, and she's passionate, she's interested, she's curious, she's very skillful at talking to people, aren't you, and listening to people. She's rolling her eyes. And if she had been in the house, she'd say, oh, hi, I'm Tess, shake the hands, you know, who are you? And then I would have wanted to tell Tess all about our personal circumstances and why we're there looking at the house, and Tess would go, oh, wait till you see the master bedroom, it's just gorgeous, or it's got fantastic views, or oh, come up and see with me. So we'd go around the house, and she'd be enthusiastic, and she'd counter any objections. She'd say, she'd give us ideas like, oh, imagine if you bought this house and you could do this with the bathroom, or you could do this with the smallest bedroom. And when we got downstairs, she'd be talking to us about the kitchen. If the kitchen wasn't quite right for us, she'd be talking about, you know, what it might cost to, you know, she might say, oh, just for about £2,000-3,000, I've seen a lovely kitchen in IKEA that could go in here instead of this dark wood one. It would make it look so much more airy. She would have definitely found the key to the back door, wouldn't you? And she would have let us out the back door, and she would have come round the garden with us. And that is really what a viewing rep is supposed to do. In fact, I don't even like the idea of a viewing rep. It shouldn't be a viewing rep, should it? Viewing representative. It should be somebody who's there to talk to you about the house. So somebody who's there to be skillful and professional and personable and listen, and listen to your buying signals, but also be able to counter any objections that you might have. And she's only going to hear those objections if that person likes her enough to be able to open up and discuss with her those objections. So, anyway, got completely off my list. That was only one thing on my list. Tessa's shaking her head. Okay, so that was the reason why you need a professional viewing person to show your house, particularly for the first viewing. Yeah, thank you very much, Tess. We're on preparation now. So what you can do, because there's lots of things you can do to prepare your home for sale to make sure that by the time Tess or us or whatever comes out to show your house, then we've got the best possible chance to be able to do it. Now, we always get to viewings early, unless the viewings are back-to-back, which is a bit tricky, especially if the viewer is coming with us from house to house, then we don't have the time to get in there ahead and prepare. But, 9 times out of 10 we're there 20 minutes, half an hour beforehand, depending on how well we know the house and how well we've prepped the owners of the house. So if you're our owner, we would say to you, please, Kate, I'll use Kate, please, Kate, could you do this list of things before every viewing? Now, you won't always be able to do it because you might be out at work and it might be an afternoon viewing. So let's say that we go in and do it for you. We would be putting your lamps on. We would make sure that it was warm or cool enough in the house, that the house was aired. So we might open some windows, always being careful to shut them afterwards. We might light the fire if that was appropriate, particularly if it's like a gas fire. I don't know if you can see the one behind me here. Just zoom out a little bit, Tess. You can see the gas fire here. It's nicely lit. It looks nice and homely, doesn't it? It wouldn't look nice if it was just a big black spot behind me. So we might light the fire if that's appropriate. It'd be really nice if we had some music on. Just a little bit of background music makes all the difference, and it actually helps somebody relax. And we know that if you have a slow background music playing, people actually walk around the house more slowly. And this is absolutely true. You'll see I've read a lot of books about how supermarkets and department stores have different kinds of music to encourage you to walk faster and slower at different parts and different times of the day. That's absolutely true. So if you want somebody to walk slowly around your home, which you do, because you want to get them in the house or keep them in the house for about 20 minutes, half an hour, so don't lock them in, but do make sure that they feel comfortable enough to stay as long as they want to stay in the house to help them make a decision. What else? Something else you can do. So if I was asking Kate to get her house ready for sale, I would say, Kate, could you please make sure that all the towels are nice and fresh so that they haven't been used? And it's really great if you've just got a bag of towels you can quickly swap over for the towels that you are using, because there's something about a towel that's got wet and then dry again, no matter whether it's clean or dirty, it always will, not quite feel smell as fresh as a brand new towel. So I suggest, whenever I'm putting my house on the market, we have a few new towels and we just dot those around the house and swap them for the ones that we are using, just ready for a viewing. And I'd also say to her, please, Kate, could you have new bedding on as well, fresh bedding, because that also makes a big difference. When you walk into a bedroom in an unfamiliar house, your nose is very sensitive to even the cleanest of bedrooms, the cleanest of occupants. It's a very personal space. You want it to feel or smell as fresh as it possibly can do, and look nice and fresh with nice plain, maybe white or cream bedding. So that's what we'll ask her to do. Now let's say it's a weekend and Kate is around the house, and she might say, Sam, should I stay around for my viewing? And I'll say, no. Take the dog for a walk. You don't have a dog, so go for a walk. Maybe go out for coffee, go and visit the neighbours, and just leave me your phone number, so when they're all done, I'll give you a call and you can come back in again, and then you can either help me lock up or I'll lock up and arrange a key with you. Alright, does that make sense? Okay, what else? I was just going to say about... something else we do at Ashdown Jones is we have... I was going to mention the flowers, wasn't I? I will mention that in just a second. Viewing notes. We have viewing notes, and so, for example, Tess and I went to see a lovely property the other day. It's about to come on the market in Hawkshead. We're really, really excited about this property. It's absolutely stunning, isn't it? And while we were walking around the house asking the owner lots and lots and lots of questions, Tess was making a huge amount of notes. So he was telling us about the fact that he's only been the third owner since 1690. He's telling us about the fact that you can run up, is it Lattrick? Do you say Lattrick or somewhere like that? In 26 minutes. He said that, talking about the spring in his garden, wasn't it? And lots of other things besides. That was just really interesting because he's just renovated the house. So we had lots and lots of things to put in the viewing notes. The viewing notes then get typed up, put on our system. So then if, for example, Phil goes out to the viewing there, even though he has been out to the house several times, he might not know the depth of detail that we got on that day, and therefore his viewing notes will really, really help him. And there might be practical things on the viewing notes, like when was the last time the boiler was replaced or serviced, and what services is to the house, and things that might not be in the particulars, might not be in the brochure, but certainly somebody might want to know. So yeah, just go back a step about flowers. So when I'm asking Kate to prepare her house for the viewers, and I'm sure it would look absolutely pristine, Kate, because you're a very house proud lady, but we'll say to you, can you just get some flowers as well? Maybe 3 bouquets of flowers, 3 bunches of flowers, maybe from Valerie Ann in Windermere, who have the best flowers, and just dot them around the house in some nice vases, and that will really add some colour and some interest and some freshness to the house. So, is there anything else we haven't answered about first viewings? If anybody's, who have we got on test at the moment? Can you see how many people we've got on? No?
Yeah,
Just trying to work it out.
Helen White.
Helen, hello Helen, nice to see you. And Emma, right, well, if anyone got any questions about viewings, about first viewings, we're talking about, not second viewings. I'll say something about them actually. What about thinking about the timing for viewings as well? We think about the timing for viewings, so we'll ask you when your bin day is, and if you've got a school nearby, when does it get particularly busy? When is it difficult to park down your road? And we'll really try and take account of that. Things like, when is the sun on the front of your house? Because if somebody pulls up to the front of the house, if the sun's on the front of the house, it looks so much nicer than if the sun's on the back of the house. So that's something that we'll ask you about as well. The house that I'm living in at the moment that is up for sale, Amberwell, it is particularly good for evening viewings. Now that quite often coincides with somebody who's at work during the day and they want to have a viewing afterwards. But I did a viewing here the other night about 7 o'clock, and we stood on the terrace afterwards on a beautiful sunny day like this, and the sun was just going down and the lake was sparkling, and it was just absolutely gorgeous. So think about the time of day when your home looks at its best, when the key room or the key area in your house or around your house looks its best, and tell us so that we can make sure that we arrange the viewings for those times. What else? Looking after a viewer, a buyer on your viewing, what we'd like to do for them, if it's a big house particularly, and we feel like they want to stay around for a little while, we'd love to make them tea or coffee. So if it's okay with you, we'll make some, like say to you, Kate, can we use the tea and coffee? Where's the cups that we should use? Maybe you want to leave a couple of nice ones out for us, and we can just make them feel a little bit more at home, and that makes all the difference. So we have got a property for sale over near Cartmel, and the lady always makes sure that she has some nice biscuits around, and we can really treat that viewer as if they were a very special guest, because they are. And the more they can feel at home in your home, the more likely they are to buy it. And we know that statistically you need probably about 20 minutes in a 3-bedroom terrace or 3-bedroom semi, maybe 30 minutes in a 4-bedroom detached, and 50 minutes or an hour or even more in a bigger house. And we have got a lot of big houses on our books at the moment. In fact, the gentleman that did do the 7 o'clock viewing on this house was here for, it was nearly an hour altogether by the time we chatted on those terrace for about 20 minutes, because he had lots and lots of extra questions. That it was only because he didn't feel rushed that he felt like he could ask the questions. Otherwise he wouldn't have thought of those questions. Those questions would have been questions he asked himself in the car on the way home and didn't actually voice his questions. So we want to make sure people don't feel rushed at all. So we try and leave as much time as possible between viewings. It's not always possible, because we might have one viewing in one place, and then 2 hours later we might have another viewing with an hour in between the two, and so there has got to be some time constraints. And but then that aside, we just try and make people feel as comfortable as they possibly can do in the home, so they feel like they can sit and chat and feel like they live there, which is really good. Okay, anything else? I think I've already said that, haven't I, about leaving the agent your number? Yeah, I think I have. Yeah, give us your number. If you go out for a walk or go to the neighbours or whatever, leave us your mobile number and we'll text you or phone you when we're finished with the viewing, and then you can come in and help us lock up or whatever we need to do. Okay, any other questions at all that I haven't covered for this? No? Alright, well, how many minutes was that, Tess? Better not make sure we stay around too long.
I don't know how you check.
What time is it?
It's not there.
It doesn't know what time it is, it's fine. 20 past. So it's been 20 minutes, that's probably long enough for now. I don't want to bore everybody. But so tomorrow or the next day I'm going to talk about second viewings and how they're different from first viewings. Probably won't talk as long about this, but if you've got any questions about viewings whatsoever, just pop them in the notes underneath and I'll either answer them on there or I'll message you individually and let you know. So hopefully that's answered all your questions, and thank you again, Kate, for your inspiration for today's Facebook Live. I will be writing a blog post about it very soon as well, so watch this space and look forward to seeing you on the next one. Bye for now.